Welcome to another episode of On the King's Dime. We are doing a season wrap today, pre-playoffs, get a bit of an understanding where the plays finished off in the regular season. Obviously, my Oracle predictions coming true. Bogut winning MVP. He was probably only about $2.50 to do it. I should have put some money where my mouth was, but I didn't in the end. And now we are moving towards the playoffs. Obviously, the semi-finals, first round. 3-game series in Melbourne, 1 game at home next Sunday, which we will be. Tickets have been purchased.
Seats have been bought.
But we better start off with what happened during the regular season.
Yes.
And we can crack it off with finishing third place.
Yep.
A little bit disappointing. Last game we missed out. Obviously, Melbourne beating Perth.
They beat Perth in overtime, to secure second place. So, but I think a few weeks before that, we kind of blew a chance to finish top spot, losing to the Hawks and then to Perth. Maybe the other Perth loss was a little bit here and there, iffy, sort of 50-50, but
getting trounced.
A real chance to play Brisbane, who we beat 4-0 this season, would have been a lot better in the finals because I think they're a team we have the wood over.
Yeah, hopefully they beat Perth and then it's
that'd be nice. Play
3-0 series that would be good. In some other news, probably can talk about this. The Boomers beat Kazakhstan. And old Humfo ended up with 17.
Oh, nice. He didn't play that long too. I think he came off the bench.
20 minutes.
Oh, did he? Yeah, fair enough.
17 points.
I got that. You can watch that on the Foxtel app. So
yes.
I might watch that.
Yeah, apparently it was Brick City.
Time. Yeah, really? I saw there was
80
a
to
highlight.
60 is like...
Mitch Creek's sort of fast break jam and then that's about it.
Yeah, it was Emmett Nar dishing, Tommy Wilson hitting 3 from 12 and that was about it.
Oh, yeah. Did you get some game time?
Yeah, he played 29 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Well, that means there's Emmett Nar. Yeah, Emmett Nar didn't shoot, just dished. It's a weird team. Anyway, we can do some of the team stats via Real GM. We finished up with 87.1 points per game. So it was up, and that was second last in the league. Only the Taipans were worse. It's like, man, we didn't see much scoring, but best field goal percentage. So we obviously took our time with our shots. Obviously, one of Gaze's strategies was to get the best shot off as possible. And we finished with the best percentage of 47.3. Second best 3-point percentage at 38.2. Brisbane had 39%, except when they played us, which was probably about 20%.
Yeah, we held them pretty quiet in some of those games. That was crazy, like holding some teams to about 20-25%. Especially with Randall as well and Adnam, undersized guys there at the perimeter. What else? The free throws were pretty bad by the end of the season.
We ended up with the least attempts. And with guys like Randall and Bogut on the court, you're just like, how did they not get fouled more?
Yeah,
how did they not get to the line? Amateur refereeing.
Yeah. Did you see the guy who won the medal was the chubby, short, stocky guy? It's like, he was the worst one.
He was the worst one of all. It's like, I don't need to say anything. He's like, tell us why you made that call. It's fucking terrible.
So I think that's something in the playoffs that we're going to have to look at is getting to the line because...
I don't think we're going to get there. I think that we need to take our opportunities at a faster pace and get those transition lineups on the court with Deng and Bowen and guys that can run the floor quickly. But look, Rainbow Ray obviously... meaning we can score a little bit more efficiently when Bogut's off the floor and we're not bleeding as much, which is a little bit nicer, a bit more chub as compared to Dane Pinot. Total rebounds per game, 7th in the league.
Yeah, that's crazy for having such an elite rebounder who led the league by a lot. Yeah,
but again, it would have been because there's one of the least points scored against us.
That's true.
So longer shot clocks, less rebounding, plus... the amount we probably last in offensive boards or first in offensive boards against.
Yeah, I think we were the worst in the league. Yeah,
with 10 so there you are. More offensive rebound boards against us, which means we're going to rebound less, which means we become 7th. So that was something that we were harping about on all season.
Yeah.
And it was just trash.
It's kind of David Ware, Kickett and Pinot, and I mean Bowen as a guard probably rebounded better than all of those guys.
Yeah,
and it's
just not boxing out, not getting into the right spaces, and guards kind of getting caught next to Bogut when they could have been out a little bit more and got the lucky ones.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you can mid-range rebound, but you can get lucky. You can create your own luck.
But then you've got Bogut as an elite rebounder, grabbing 12 boards a game, like by far the best. I think he's 3 or 4 rebounds better than any other player in the league. Assists per game were the second lowest with 16.9. The Taipans were worse, but Illawarra were the best. So
not shooting, just dishing.
Moving the ball. But little spoiler alert: who might be coming to the Kings to
Rob
coach?
Beveridge. Yeah,
it's good. A lot more assists means, especially in this team, more assists means more buckets, high quality buckets.
But again, I think that if you look at a lot of what Bogut did, if you take into account balls put on the floor before scoring, his assist count would have been way, way higher.
Yeah,
because he's handling out further. And so when they drive through those cutting lanes, they're putting the ball on the floor to get to the basket, especially Newley.
Yeah.
So in the NBA, his assist would be way higher.
Yeah,
but in the NBL, because they can't bounce the ball, it has to be direct to the hoop. Assists are low. It's kind of like, I'd like to see what the NBA stats would be, because that gives you, I think, a better perspective on how a team is moving the ball, not just like, oh, I threw it and he dunked it. He didn't put the ball on the floor, he dunked it. It's kind of like, that's not really, showing how much. I still think we'd be down there because there's a lot of ISO Randall and a lot of ISO Lish. So,
well, Lish was cutting backdoor a little bit more further down the season.
Yeah.
He was getting wide open. Even Bowen had a few where he was wide open and then getting some nice dimes dished into him. Apart from that, like you don't get anything really out of kick it or
he's just back down or shoot, stretch the floor.
And lanes either, like I'm on the run, one dribble and then attempt a layup or something like that. There was none of that from the forwards at all. But in transition, like he's starting to put the ball on the floor a little bit more, and because his 3-point percentage went way down by the end of the season, but he's someone who needs to pump fake and put the ball on the floor and get to the hoop.
Yeah,
because he's one of our most dangerous players at the rim. And then blocks per game, 4.2. So I think we were third.
Steals with how have we made the finals?
I know some of those stats are pretty bad, eh?
And
I think it's just that elite shooting, shot making. So smaller volumes, but elite shot making
and holding teams. I think
defense too. Yeah, the defense has really led to offense for us a lot. This
sometimes
season.
You just look at some games and just Brisbane would shoot turd from outside for no reason. Then they were shooting turd.
Yeah,
I think we got a bit of luck in there.
Yeah, definitely. I think so as well. But I think as the season went on, our defense started to unlock more opportunities on the offensive end, like Newley in transition, even Bowen was getting out in transition. Randall in transitions is one of the most dangerous players in the league. So I'm hoping, like playoffs, usually everything slows down. So I'm hoping that in the playoffs, like
it'll work to our favor a lot more. It's more grindy, more guys trying to get to the bucket. And then there's obviously Bogut in the way, which is going to change everything. And then you've got good fast guys like Bowen and Newley to really push the floor in transition, which should give Melbourne some issues. So if we move on to kind of the players, we'll go to the kind of the ungradables. We're not going to grade them, but we'll talk about what they've done this season. Deng Akuth, just the 4 appearances, total of 2 minutes and 42 seconds on the court. Wow, that guy got paid for 2 minutes and 42 seconds. He dropped
I felt sorry for him, but man,
I would have liked to seen him a lot more. I think that we had in the periods where we needed that rim protector, they went to a non-rim protector.
Yeah,
and that cost us a couple of games. And we didn't see a lot of Deng Akuth, even though he's probably very raw. 7-footer, long, just
like
shot.
for Bogut. I mean, there's a difference between having a like for Bogut and bringing a guy in and saying you need to put up the numbers like Bogut. But at the same time, you didn't really even get a chance to try that, which I thought was a bit disappointing. He's only on a development contract, so it's not like...
Hopefully we see more of him next year.
Yeah.
But look at Humfo. Humfo averaged 6 points a game, and now 17 for Australia. Dribble drive, man. That guy can pump fake dribble drive.
Put the ball on the floor. A couple of times with the fake and go. That was pretty good too, getting to the hoop.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson was the other guy. He ended up making 10 appearances.
Somehow plays for Australia, yet can't get a game for the Kings.
Good on him, man. No, good on him. It's understandable that he doesn't play for the Kings. I mean, you got Randall and Lish, and then Bowen as the next star guy, and then Adnam off the bench. I mean, Adnam had a pretty good season.
We'll talk about good season.
I think a little bit later.
We've got to put things into perspective here because some of these numbers are just woeful. Absolute trash.
But I think for his stature, I mean, he's only a young guy. Like,
look, points wise, he shot the ball very well this season.
In the limited time he got,
limited to find. Defensively, he got found out a little bit, but I think he's definitely up there and growing as a player. Can hit the three ball when it counts. And there was some good play against the Taipans when he had to step in for Randall.
Yep.
So we'll go on to Deng Deng.
Yeah, so he was kind of like between ungradable at the half-season mark, and then obviously he ended up making 17 appearances and some decent minutes off the bench, 180 minutes, 62 minutes with a 180 oop flush.
Yeah.
That was probably the highlight of his season. It was a good dunk. I was there to see that. I was right behind it. It was great. So he ended up with 29 points in total for the season, 1.1 per game. I guess, strengths.
Oh, look, I think it's one of those things. His mid-range game is not too bad. He's feisty, bit of an energy guy as well. Yeah. Gets off the bench, just can go, held to the floor because he's not going to get that many minutes, and add a bit of flair with some of his finishing around the rim, which is good to see if you want a showman. But yeah, I'd like to see him in faster lineups when you're actually creating matchups against players. I don't want to see kick it on the floor with Bowen and Deng because that just slows everything down. Need to get a fast five, even get Pinot out there, move faster in transition, which we didn't really see with Gaze. And one of Gaze's biggest criticisms was his ability to match up what's needed rather than I'm just running my play. You're getting 2 minutes, you're getting a minute. It's like, no, we need to actually create a small ball lineup that's faster and can push through in transition.
That we can go to. I think when Ray Turner came in, he was providing that a little bit, but there was still some fundamental things that just didn't work, like screening stuff, like executing plays and having a designated scorer in the second unit. It was kind of like a mix and match between Randall and Lish, Randall, Lish, Adnam, like it was. Yeah, it wasn't a unit that had a way to score the second unit. It was kind of just left up to whoever
could I'll just put one up.
Yeah. So if it was Lish left on, then it was Lish. If it was Randall, it was Randall. If it was Adnam, it was Adnam. And it was never a unit creating something with a means to score the ball.
Yeah. No, it was just kind of that was it. We'll move on to some bench guys.
But he was a C+ anyway.
Yeah, I'd give him a C+. I liked him when he was on the floor. I reckon he brought a bit of energy.
So he stayed C+. He was C+ in the half season, and then he stays C+.
C+ it stays. Bench guys, Rainbow Ray Turner. Points per game.
So he gave us a lift off the bench, I think.
I think exactly what I said in one of the pods. It's just to stem that bleeding. Man, we were bleeding so badly when Pinot was on the floor. From an offensive perspective, they just knew that they could take this guy out and just crowd the paint because he's got no elbow game.
Yep.
And so you're just running around at the top. He really can't see over like Bogut and doesn't really have any finishing like Bogut. So it's like it didn't work. Didn't work. And
I think we were sort of expecting a rim protector.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that he's not really a rim protector. He's kind of
like a power forward playing at 5. Screens.
It's kind of like a different version of Ware almost.
Yeah.
Like a mid-range version of Ware. So I'm not sure. For what he is, he gave good minutes to us and probably will give good minutes to us in the finals. But I'm not sure how he really how well he really plugs in.
I don't think he plugs into this system. Maybe next year when we get the new coach and if he's still around. But one of the hilarious weakness was fitness when he asked, like, oh, man, I got to get out of here. I'm tired.
Yeah, almost earning the nickname Ray Puffed Marshmallow Man. I like that one.
Very puffed.
But I guess C+ would be for him.
like
that's kind of like
standard,
you can't really
standard.
He only ended up 65% shooting, 15 from 23. It's not bad. So it gives us like at least 1 or 2 elbow jumpers a game.
Yeah, which is what you need. It's just in an 85-point game, 4 points can make all the difference. We can now go to Dane Pinot.
Oh, no.
No.
No, I think with that speech, he redeemed himself at the end of the season.
Yeah.
after his bad haircut, and some pretty lackluster minutes. Bit disappointing, really. I mean, I think he's a better player than what his time on the court showed.
He obviously is, because he plays with the Kings, and you have to think about all the other backup centers in the league and what they've provided. They've provided something. Is it just that like Gaze is like, this is what you have to do to knock outside that? He's like, yeah, sure. And so he just provided this, which was trash. It was.
Yeah.
Is it the point that he needs to then go out and say, no, I'm my own player. I'm going to provide a little bit of offense, try and bang down, try and do this, try and work on that. There was no growth and development throughout the year at all.
From him, no.
No, zero.
It wasn't.
It's like, you're a center, it's time for you to start banging. If you've got no elbow game, you've got to bang.
Yeah,
he's not banging down low.
Or demand the ball. Like, he didn't even really demand the ball at all.
No, he just kind of handed the ball off and set screens the whole time and was just moving from screen to screen, and then would get caught in transition because he screened some guy and the balls end up over there for the shot and he's behind the play. And it's just like, now they're just going to score.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no, you need to demand the ball. Either go for the finish, you miss, so what? You're still in front of the play and you can run back. But so many times he ended up on an off-ball screen behind the play and they'd score in transition.
Just score, yeah.
So it was kind of pointless.
Or he'd end up, trailing an attacker to the hoop and then try and like chase down block. And
he's not long enough for it. He's not got the arm length. But made all 16 appearances off the bench, 166 minutes, total of 44 rebounds, which 5 assists, 5 steals, 8 blocks, 6 turnovers. So his ball security was good for 16 points.
16 points.
Jesus.
So I think like his mentality didn't seem to fit what this team needed out of him. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, he's a bit passive as a player.
Yes.
Because he has the skill to put the ball on the floor and get to the hoop. Like, he'd try and go to the hoop, and then after missing one, it'd just be like, well, I'm not going to try anymore.
Yeah, there's my 2 minutes. It's like, no, man, you got to get better. The only way to get better is practicing game. Anyway, so that was kind of a bit of a, Ben gave...
Yeah, so I ended up, so it was a C for the half-year grade, and then I ended up, D+, because he regressed a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go F at big fail. Big F. It failed. It failed, and he got replaced. And I don't think that's a reflection on him. I think that's a reflection on his position in the team.
Cold as ice.
Cold. I'm a cold man. All right, let's go. You want to say...
What was yours for Turner?
Oh, C+.
C+, that's right. Yeah.
Now, I know you want to say the next one.
Wild Kyle.
Yeah.
Wild Kyle. Yeah, I love saying that, man. It's awesome. So yeah, what was 6.7 points per game? I think he did a good job coming into this team off the bench, running a decent unit. And even when Lish and Randall were out, he ran a decent first team. Like, he fit the offense. Both of those games, I believe we won. Shot 39% from the field. It must be tough coming into that second unit, really, because it's not a well-constructed group of individuals. He shot the 3-ball at 36%. That's not too bad. He was, I think, at 95% at the line at one point, and then 84% from the free throw line. He just doesn't get any calls. It's like Randall doesn't get any calls at all. Tries to go to the hoop, gets train wrecked, gets no calls, and then I think some of these guys that are guards try to get to the rim, and then, well, what's the point of going to the rim if I'm not going to get any calls?
Exactly.
All I'm going to do is get punted into the first round.
It's like It's like a Monday night basketball comp. You're like, I might as well just shoot it from outside because I'm just going to get punted while I'm in there and not score anyway. So you end up taking a shoot. The shot from the outside. My little bit of disappointing was the 27 turnovers on 40 assists. That should be 2-1 as a minimum. Really, when you're facilitating, I know he did have the backup unit, which consisted a lot of Dane Cano and Bowen, early in the season, and Kickett potentially, and these guys not hitting shots when they should have, and not a lot of facilitation. But when you're playing at the point, you really need to be able to facilitate a little bit more.
He did have the worst plus-minus of our team, -80, which is, I think, partly because the second unit, you lose Bogut, and every team pretty much went with the right, try and score now because Bogut's off the floor. Go ham. Let's try and score as much as we can, which kind of sucks for him. But I think it's probably less he's just a liability, and more, he is one part of a non-functioning bench unit.
Yes.
And
it's not. I don't think it's reflected on him as a player. I think if he had the right parts around him, he'd handle them very well, and his stats would go way up. But again, like you said, Pinot on the floor a lot of time when he was there. Kickett back when Kickett was going through a bit of a lull as well. Then you had Bowen, and you kind of were like this unit that didn't make sense. You had slow Kickett, fast Bowen, and Adnam just trying to work in between them. And it didn't really work.
And then when I was going through the lineups, there was a lot of Randall, Lish, Randall, Randall, Lish, Randall when Adnam's on the floor. And it's kind of, if he's your dedicated off scorer, like your two-guard scorer, it's kind of not his thing. Like he's too small. He can't really screen guys. He can't really function on the perimeter. He can knock down a shot or two. But in that second unit, there's just a mess sort of going on. I stayed with a B+ from his half-year grade because I think he was doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I think he did.
I'm going to say B.
B, regression.
B.
From A, you had...
Yeah, I just think that you can't lie at minus 80.
Yeah, I know.
Can't hide from real stats. We'll go on to Brian Tuggs. Bowen the second.
The platinum pogo stick. 432 minutes as a next star. That's or whatever you call it. That's pretty impressive for a young lad.
16 minutes a game, especially in a 40-minute game. Shooting 47%.
Yeah, from the field. That's not too bad.
Three ball at a decent clip, 35%.
Just not many attempts, though. Like, he didn't end up being much of a spot-up shooter. He kind of ended up being like a help guy.
Yeah.
A put-out fires guy.
I think that was more of the facilitation of the team rather than like,
yeah.
Here, Brian, you take over that bench second. Yeah. Here, Bowen the second. You take over that bench unit and you start scoring. That's your time to score. And he just didn't do that. He tried to facilitate and become part of the team.
So do you think that's his mentality?
I think his mentality was, and I think you've seen that in a lot of the NBA guys that have come out here and then go back into the NBA and do better. Is they come out here because they want to be, they're a team and they're trying to get their careers off, and they go to the NBA and they're like, all right, now it's time to show.
Yeah.
And I think, like you heard Doncic talk about it, it's easy to score in the NBA because it's one-on-one basketball all of the time. It's like everyone moves out of the way. There's no zone. You're not fighting around a zone.
Yep.
You're not fighting three guys running off the perimeter or setting double traps. It's just kind of like, all right, everyone clear out and you do your thing. Or, a lot of fast ball and transitions. So different in the NBL, but I think he rebounded quite well.
Yep.
And I thought that, he did the other things, basics well. Definitely a high IQ, got into some good situations. Again, a guy that just got smashed a few times and no called.
He got absolutely nothing really at the rim. I would have liked to have seen him put the ball on the floor a little bit more.
Yeah.
And demand the ball and maybe play make a little bit. But obviously, I think his mentality is not one of, I'm going to just score in this team. And we said that at the start of the season where he doesn't play like a guy that's like, give me the ball, I'm going to do everything.
No.
And it fit. I think it fit, but didn't create enough shots for him.
We didn't really create enough shots for anyone.
Well, not really. But towards the end of the season, you kind of started seeing Adnam get a few sort of wide open shots and then knocking him down. And then Bowen, even in the last couple of games, started to get a couple of shots. So I'm hoping in the playoffs he gets a little bit, or he comes out of his shell a little bit more, demands the ball, puts it on the floor. Defensively, I think he was a real help as well when he was playing with the first unit. Grabbed 85 boards. I think that was fourth highest rebounders in our team. I think it was Bogut, then Newley, Ware, then Bowen. So fourth highest rebounder, which was pretty impressive. What was his highlight? Was probably 15 against Melbourne when we lost that game.
Which is good because he can bring it back out again next week when we're going to need it.
B, stayed as a B for me.
Yeah, B. I'm happy with that.
We moved down to Kickett, the last man off the bench, or the first man off the bench usually for Ware.
Good shooting.
Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag.
He's old.
Yeah, slow. And I think that punctuates it. A mixed bag, but he's old. So
he's old. He's a stalwart of NBL. Great shooter, shot the ball very efficiently, can put teams away pretty quickly, but just gets annihilated.
On the defensive end, a bit of a liability on the defensive end. Look, he shot 49% from the field and then 51% from inside. So he has the veteran presence and a little array of post moves as well.
Yeah. He scores. He gets things going when our outsider game is kind of falling. He's just like, all right, I'll post up and can score the ball quite well.
And part of, I guess, our second unit woes were a little bit of, it's on, kick it. And then you kind of think to yourself, like, well, why? Like, you sort of run something for someone else or move the ball or something. But I guess he did bring post kick it out of the bag when he dipped a little bit shooting the 3-ball halfway through the season. Then he kind of came back a little bit shooting the 3-ball well.
But just defensively, 3 blocks. The guy's 6'10".
It's a bit of a mess defensively.
Slow, gets beaten on the dribble every time. And just
can't really grab boards either.
Can't really grab boards.
Out rebounded by Bowen. So I was thinking, like, he's our third big man, really. And then if you look around the league, you could easily flip him as a player in our team. You could flip him for a 24-year-old, pretty raw power forward, and probably get a similar sort of effectiveness out of them.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're raw and they jump on some shots at the rim and foul maybe, but you're probably getting a better defender and then maybe someone who could shoot and stretch the floor a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of flip him for someone who's younger and faster at the power forward and we transform a little bit more as a team. But for what he gave us, man, as an old guy and a veteran, like I think it was a pretty impressive season for him.
Indeed.
He stayed as a B+ for me.
B for me.
B stays as a B for you. He had a big performance actually against Melbourne. I think he went, was it 5 from 5 at one stage? He 4 from 4 from 3. Killed it. David Ware. Travis.
6 weeks spent in Gazer's dungeon. Travis Ware possibly imitating him. Made all of his appearances in the starting lineup. Shot 46% from the field, making 76 from 166 attempts. So not high volume at all. Averaging 19 minutes per game. So less than kick it.
Yeah.
Rebounded the ball a lot better. Second half of the season, I think, was more aggressive. 26 assists, 9 steals, 8 blocks, and 19 turnovers.
Yeah, too many turnovers, man.
Far too many turnovers. His strength is the ability. He's got a very nice stroke when he kind of builds to it.
Yeah.
But just not volume
for
a starting power forward.
Well, I guess you're getting back into that. We didn't really create shots for anyone, really.
We didn't run plays for anyone. But his ability earlier on in the year to get to the corner and get free and not knock it down was one thing that we were really struggling with.
Yeah.
He get to the open spot and then just be like, no, he's not knocking that down.
Not knocking it down in the corner as well, which is usually where you're kind of knocking him down. I think he grew as a player.
He got better as a player.
And fit into the system. I think it was around the time halfway through the season when
he's like,
we're not rebounding the ball very well. And then, now he's starting to box guys out and help on the boards.
And now he's actually setting screens instead of just moving his feet.
Yeah, and slipping them and then creating double traps for Randall and stuff like that, which I had a problem with at the start of the season. Like a few times he'd just kind of slip off the screen and leave Randall in the corner, double trapped, having to like pass over the top. So I think he's going to be important if you can knock down those shots. You just can't get to the line either. It's 15 of 17 from the line.
It's not very high.
But he doesn't put the ball on the floor, and that's where someone like Wiley for Adelaide, so dangerous from about 12 feet, can get to the hoop at will. It's someone like that's going to transform this team in general. But I think he's got an important role to play in these final series because he's going to be the extra guy. They've got Boone and then Barlow. He's going to be the guy that basically follows Barlow around and stops him from shooting the 3.
Which he can do because he's lengthwise. He should be able to run guys off the line. But
his perimeter defense is a bit average.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Travis in.
Yeah, we'll bring Travis over.
Travis averages like 20 points a game and shit, so he's good. I don't know how.
Good. So he raised for me to a B-.
I'm going to stick him at a C+ still.
C. I think you're raising him to a C+ because you're a C.
Oh, there you are. We are raising. You raised me up.
You raised me up just half a place to a plus. Brad El Toro, newly. Finished the season pretty good.
He is younger than you?
I did not know that. I thought he was in his late 30s, man.
No, it's just that hair.
I know.
He's got the Walton Goggins hairstyle.
Walton Goggins, jeez. I could not believe he was younger than me, man. That makes me feel really old, and I usually don't feel that old. 702 minutes, just veteran presence, I think, was really important. So dangerous in transition. Anytime he had his head down going to the basket, you were just like, bucket every time. Barbecue chicken every time.
Yeah.
The only thing was his free throw percentage 68%. He did raise it up slightly. That's because
that was the crocodile. Everyone would be like, just like... Everyone had walked about 10 seconds before he shot the ball.
Yeah, so many times there were lane violations, but they just never called him. Ended up grabbing 130 boards, which was pretty good by the end of the season. Yes. I think that really helped us. Him grabbing boards was an important
offensively
part.
too, as well.
97 assists, which was pretty good. Like the second pass, like some nice dimes. 21 steals. I think he was second only to Lish, who had 38, and he had 21. Which was pretty impressive. I think an important part of what he's got to do in this final series is put away the 3 ball, because he was shooting it at 39%, but ended up 31%.
Yeah.
And that's a big drop for 12, 14 or whatever games.
Indeed.
And if people are going to respect him, he's got to pump fake, put the ball on the floor and get to the hoop, because it's going to be a big deal. He's just so dangerous in transition. There's no reason why
you don't want guys sitting off him and closing the lanes, because they know he's not going to knock that 3 ball. You want them to go to the 3 ball because he's going to knock that down. I've got to close this gap, and then pump fakes and drives, because you know he's going to get there and one as well.
Yeah,
he does get a few. He's probably the Sydney guy most likely to get calls.
Yeah, because he's such a big body. And he goes up so strong with his body that...
He gets the calls, whereas like Randall and Adnan just disappear under blokes and just like, oh, no? Okay.
No, nothing here. Well, how did Randall end up in the first row over there? That's kind of bizarre. His highlight of the season was that Adelaide 26-point night. It was a pretty good night with the headbands. I think that was like his career high too, wasn't it? 26?
No, I think he's had a couple of 30-point games.
Okay. There was some big, like he had some crazy night for his career-wise. He stayed at an A- for me.
Yep. I'm happy with what I gave him.
B+.
Indeed. Now we can go on to the big man of the moment.
Yeah, the big MVP. Cheese.
You're gonna, Andrew Bogut.
Triumphantly cakewalk and gloat.
Just do my strut. Dude shot 56% from the field, making 145 of 258 attempts. That's efficiency. From the line, not too good, but, you know, he's a big man. Typically, big men are not great at the line. At the end of the season, he ended up with 327 rebounds and 93 offensive rebounds.
It's pretty impressive.
That's ridiculous.
12.1 per game and then 3.4 offensive rebounds per game for a team that really offensively rebounded
just
terribly.
Trash.
97 assists.
16 steals, which is good. 77 blocks.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
So he stopped 144 points.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. It really is. I don't think people kind of understand just how incredible
how nuts that is. You know, he shut out 144 points.
And I just wonder how much different our defense would be if you had a different center there. You know
what defense?
Well, a lot of it was funneling guys to him.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, you go at him one-on-one. No worries. Nice. I've done my job. So you just kind of think, like, I wonder what the team would be like without this guy. He's just such a gravitational force in our team that's basically the defensive rock. And he had an absolute monster season for his first season.
He did.
Even his offensive game, like I said at the start of the season, don't expect much. But he showed some flip shots, some bank shots, a couple of jumpers.
A lot of push shots where he just kind of just goes,
yeah.
And they go in, you're like...
The left, he shoots this kind of like coin flip underhand thing. Like I don't know how he does it. It's like he just flicks it out.
Well, when your hand's the size of the ball, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
It's crazy.
Our small hands do not come into context.
Yeah, mine are pretty small. A lot of turnovers, a few bad ones too. That was his only real downside. Lazy kind of.
Start of games, he would get lazy.
Nonchalant, a little bit diva-y if things weren't going our way. You kind of give up a bad turnover and just stomp back up the court. But that's such tiny, like, faint damning of a guy that's just had an absolutely monster season.
Monstrous.
So he had a 21-14 against the Hawks, a 26-7 with 4 blocks against the Bullets, a 15-17 with 2 assists against the Taipans, against Jawai, which is, pretty impressive. Then Defensive Player of the Year and MVP.
End of season review, MVP.
Yeah, nice. So you can't really go anywhere further than that.
Nope. He is the best in the league by far. By far.
Yeah, so we move on to Kevin the Stud Lish, or Bad Man. I like Bad Man better.
Bad Man, yeah.
Kevin Lish is a bad man.
He is.
27. So he was injured. He had that concussion injury and he missed one game. 866 minutes, 45% from the field, 39% from three. I think he could heat that up just a little bit. He did start quite hot. 78% from the line. That's a bit disappointing. 69 rebounds, 87 assists, 38 steals. So he was our best perimeter. Just a beast on the perimeter.
He's a beast, but he's one of the best defenders in the league, and he's an ex-defensive player of the year.
Yeah, and he was nominated as well for the defensive player of the year this year. I reckon if he didn't have Bogut in the league, I think he would have won it
pretty convincingly. A couple of blocks, but just his steals, his ability to run guys off the line, and 3-point percentages when guarded by him were abysmal. So that's really, really nice to see. His weakness, he's kind of a well-rounded two guard. He's well sized. He's good on ball. Can create those ISO 3-ball shots with like kind of a fake pump or a pump fake.
Yeah.
And kind of gives you buckets at the right time, which you can't really fault him. I mean, you want him in your team. Everyone does. And his highlight for the season, 22 points against the Taipans, and I have to give him an A+.
So he goes back up to an A+. And I think I was A+ as well. So fantastic season, man. Our best perimeter defender by far. I think just all round glue guy, glued our team together. And then moving on to Jerome Randall, 18.7 points per game, which was third in the league. Like that's still pretty impressive for someone who got next to no real accolades. Calls like wider.
He only shot 98 free throws.
Yeah.
So how many attempts? 414 attempts, and half the time he'd disappear under like 5 people. And so you'd have to think that he'd been fouled at least 50 times. Is that it? Like he went to the bucket 400, and he only got called that many
317 times. So that's
317 times.
Total makes 317 from inside. That's a pretty poor ratio.
A couple of times he got hammered on the outside and get called as well.
Against Perth with whoever guy who basically just gets calls for fun or got calls for fun the entire season. Look, I think he got overshadowed this season and took it in stride too, because at the start of the season, obviously he's a 20+ point scorer a season and a night. Yeah, a night. Like having to change his game, I think it took a little bit of his own self-reflection to go, I don't have to play like that. And I think he kind of worked out, he pieced the puzzle together as it went through the season. And he was playing really, really well up until we got that injury. So I just really hope he comes back from that injury, because that's going to it's a massive blow if he doesn't play, basically. Yeah. Because against Casper Ware, who he had a couple of really good games against.
Tit for tat games.
But like I said, again, his season kind of gets lost in this whole thing. And he still had a phenomenal season, like scoring the ball phenomenally well, 46% from the field, 47 from inside, 43 from three. Like
on high volume, because he's our highest volume shooter. It's crazy. 87% from the line.
And 116 dimes as well. And some great like games with 5-6 dimes down the end of the season when he was just starting to hit form. What else can be said about him?
Nothing much. I think that during the early part of the seasons, he got caught on screens a lot and didn't fight through them. I think he definitely worked on that back then. A little bit exploited defensively sometimes against some bigger guards or switching. Adelaide are really good at switching. Yeah. You notice that they switch the big guys on the little guys very well.
And Melbourne were doing that a little bit at the start of the season. I think it's a problem with Bogut, basically, because if you've got Bogut coming out and not being at the rim, which a lot of the time he is at the rim. Like if you're trying to drag Bogut out, you're running a lot of screen action at the top, which he kind of gets caught by. But by the end of the season, he started, and I think Lish started to realize, I can help this guy out by moving here. Like I can spread the floor a little bit and make sure I'm in that area for you. We kind of worked it out sort of down the end of the season. And I think, I don't think much more can be said. I think he was a joy to watch, and I think it's a bit unfortunate that he didn't really get much eyes on his game this season, because I thought he was fantastic.
Indeed.
In general. That's about it, really, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, we'll come back after the first game.
Yeah.
And we'll talk. Some.
You don't want to watch the first game?
Yeah, we'll come back after the first game.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Or we'll come back after the Sunday Hopefully we've wrapped it up in 2. Hopefully we wrapped it up.
Yeah, we'll do it just a quick. What are you predicting? 2-0.
I think 2-0, and the reason I think 2-0, I think we play better away against Melbourne. It seems like it's a stronger, and then I think we'll have the balls over them then to bring it home.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping Randall plays. But I like this series for 2. I don't think it'll go to 3, and I think if it does go to 3, it's not going to be great for us.
No, I think I don't know. Like we've slowed Melbourne down this season. Like we slowed them down.
I just think last time Bogut absolutely smashed Boone.
Yeah.
And with no big guy really doing much, it's like the Casper Ware show followed by a Goulding. And then like Kevin Lish completely nullified Goulding for the first like 2 quarters. And then he kind of got some fluky threes off, which he's going to do because he's a great shooter. So that's really, just get Lish on Goulding. Just watch David Barlow putting up weird threes all night.
that stroke has got to be one of the
ugliest
worst strokes I've ever seen. I think that's the most important part will be our mentality and our attitude. We have to go into that first game super positive. I think the first game we played them, we started off real tight, like we don't deserve to be here. But in the next couple of games, you could feel the Melbourne mentality was a little bit like, something's coming here. We're struggling. But it was their own ability as a team that just pulled them out of the fire a couple of times.
They've been there before, especially last year and being a pretty successful team over the last little bit. So,
and it was the final game really where I could feel that Melbourne team going, we don't really have an answer for this. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
But we've got to come out and just smash them in the mouth. And
definitely.
That's going to be really important. Yeah, I guess that's going to be our last episode until the finals. So
2 more eps to go.
Great season, I believe. That was a pretty good season.
Indeed. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
It's been our pleasure, obviously, this season bringing you guys on the King's Zion. We're going to be hanging around for the postseason.
Yep.
And then Ben's going to have a baby.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
My wife is.
Yeah, you're having it.
Yeah.
And we'll be back. But we look forward to hanging out with you guys. If you see us at the game, come say hi.
Yeah.
No reason. We're pretty friendly guys. And we're looking forward to smashing Melbourne.
Yeah. Hopefully we can smash Melbourne. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, guys.
All right. Take it easy, peeps.
Bye.